I have sent you 4,000 men, each led by a man worth 1,000. Ubbadah filled his hand with dirt and threw it in the preacher's mouth. If you see flatterers throw dirt in their faces, by Allah, I will never live in the same land as you. Welcome back to 60 Men Who Changed History. Ubbadah bin al-Samit, a leader among the Ansar. The life of Ubbadah bin al-Samit. Born a leader. Ubbadah bin al-Samit was born in Medina 38 years before the Hijrah, making him 15 years younger than the Prophet Muhammad. He was one of the honored Ansar, the helpers about whom the Prophet said, "If the Ansar take a valley or a path, I would take the valley of the Ansar. If not for the Hijrah, I would have been one of the Ansar." Bukhari. Tall, strong, and handsome, Ubbadah was a leader from the Khazraj tribe and became a Naqib chief for his people. He was also a guardian of the Quran. The first pledge of Aqaba. When the first group of Ansar traveled to Mecca to pledge allegiance to the Prophet, Ubbadah bin al-Samit was one of the 12 believers who eagerly embraced Islam. They extended their hands to the Prophet, sealing their pledge with deep sincerity and commitment. A second pledge of Aqaba. In the following year, during Hajj season, Ubbadah witnessed the second pledge of Aqaba. This time, 70 believers, both men and women, came from the Ansar to swear allegiance. Ubbadah, once again among the leaders, stood tall, offering his unwavering loyalty. He never hesitated to sacrifice for the cause of Islam and fulfilled every responsibility that came with his commitment to Allah and His Messenger. Ubbadah's military bravery. During the conquest of Egypt, when Amr ibn al-As requested reinforcements from Caliph Umar, he sent 4,000 men, each led by a wise commander. Ammar described them, saying, "I have sent you 4,000 men, each led by a man worth 1,000. Ubbadah bin al-Samit was among these 4 heroes, a man of integrity. One day, Ubbadah heard the Prophet speak about the grave consequences awaiting those governors who fail to uphold justice or fall into corruption. This warning shook him deeply, and he vowed never to accept a position of authority. His unwavering sense of duty was rooted in his fear of failing Allah's trust. A teacher of the Quran, Ubbadah was one of 5 Ansar who memorized the Quran during the Prophet's time. Later, when Caliph Umar received a request from Yazid bin Abi Sufyan for teachers to guide the growing Muslim population in Sham, Syria, Ubbadah, along with Mu'adh bin Jabal and Abu al-Darda, traveled to Sham. Ubbadah then moved to Palestine, where he served as a judge under the rule of Muawiyah, representing the caliphate in this vital region. Tension between justice and power. While in Palestine, Ubbadah admired the leadership of Caliph Umar, a man unparalleled in integrity. However, he found it difficult to reconcile his principles with the ambitions of Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan, who prioritized power. Ubbadah had been molded by the Prophet's teachings, and his heart beat with loyalty to justice and truth, values embodied by Umar. The stark contrast between Umar's righteousness and Muawiyah's love of authority inevitably led to conflict. Confrontation with Muawiyah. One day, Ubbadah found a preacher praising Muawiyah excessively. Disgusted by the flattery, Ubbadah filled his hand with dirt and threw it in the preacher's mouth. When Muawiyah became angry, Ubbadah replied, "You were not with us when we pledged allegiance to the Prophet at Aqaba, to obey him in ease and hardship, to speak the truth, and to fear none but Allah." The Prophet himself said, "If you see flatterers throw dirt in their faces." Ubbadah lived by this command, fearing no one, not even Muawiyah's authority. Bold opposition. The people of Palestine witnessed Ubbadah's fearless opposition to Muawiyah, and his stance echoed across the Islamic world as a symbol of justice. Despite Muawiyah's reputation for patience and diplomacy, Ubbadah's unwavering principles threatened the stability of his rule. As the conflict between them deepened, Ubbadah declared, "By Allah, I will never live in the same land as you." He returned to Medina, where Caliph Umar welcomed him back with open arms. He left Palestine for the city. The commander of the faithful, Umar, was a man of great insight and foresight. He was keen not to allow leaders like Muawiyah, who relied on their cleverness and used it without restraint, to operate without surrounding them with a group of pious, ascetic, and sincere companions. This was to curb their ambition and desire, and to serve as a constant reminder of the days of the Prophet and his era. For this reason, as soon as the commander of the faithful saw Ubbadah bin al-Samit return to the city, he asked him, "What brings you here, O Ubbadah?" When Ubbadah recounted what had transpired between him and Muawiyah, Umar said to him, "Return to your place. May God curse a land where you are not present and where men like you reside. He has no authority over you." Then Umar sent a letter to Muawiyah saying, "You have no authority over Ubbadah. Indeed, Ubbadah is the master of himself, and when Umar al-Faruq honors a man with such respect, it signifies greatness." Recognizing Ubbadah's greatness and entrusting him with a free conscience. Final words and legacy. As Ubbadah approached death, he asked to be taken into the courtyard and requested that his friends and servants gather. He addressed them, saying, "I do not expect to live beyond this day, and I ask if I have wronged any of you. Please take your retribution now before I meet Allah." They assured him that he had been nothing but just and kind. With a clear conscience, Ubbadah gave his final instructions. "Do not cry over me. When I die, perform ablution, pray for me, and seek forgiveness for yourselves, and be quick in burying me." In the 34th year of the Hijrah, Ubbadah passed away in Ramla, Palestine, at the age of 72. He left behind a legacy of faith, courage, and unwavering commitment to truth and justice. The above story clearly shows that it is permissible to object to the ruler in public. It also shows it is unethical for imams go in excess appeasing the rulers. Together we can rebuild a just and vibrant world. Tawheed Foundation. 60 men changed history. Tawheed Foundation. 60 men changed history. Thanks for watching. If you want to share your thoughts on Ammar and his life, please leave them in the comments below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for the next video about Ammar in Medina. Your support means a lot to us.